This is Sara Delansig, your friendly fellow realtor and ISA, here to share with you some techniques to overcome your fear of follow-up. This is something that I do every day, and if you are not familiar with the term ISA, it stands for Inside Sales Agent or Associate. I am actually an agent with eXp Realty, and I am not technically inside. It's just a term that it's used with. But what I do is I call real estate agent leads all day long. And I don't like to call them leads. I like to call them seeds or human beings because that's what they are. And it will help you to connect with them better if you don't put them in that category of an inanimate object. So on that note, I want to share with you the tips to overcome your fear of follow-up. This is a real problem facing a lot of agents right now in this industry, and I cannot wait to share with you all what I've been doing and what is working. And that's the main point, is that it is working, and it's not the traditional salesy manipulative techniques that we've all been taught for 20 something years, which I'm not knocking, but it's not my style, and it wasn't working for the clients that I was calling for. So it didn't work in this market today. It's a little too aggressive. It's a little too much and salesy. So I came along with a different approach, which is much more conversational and authentic and honest. So I will get into all of that stuff and share my screen with you and show you what I'm talking about. So let's go. Okie dokie. I should put this into the slideshow view. Okay, so what I always ask people is, what is holding you back from calling your leads? And the number one thing they tell me usually is fear of rejection. So that's number one on my list of, I think there's 8 items. I'm just going to go ahead and go through these bullet points really quickly and put them on the screen. So the fear of rejection is what keeps a lot of people from wanting to call their leads. They're afraid that if they call them and they say no, then now they have to take that lead or that person out of their follow-up, and it's it was a waste of money. And I say no. I say don't worry about being rejected. It is a good thing. At least you're not wasting 18 months calling someone that doesn't want to work with you or already has an agent, or maybe you're calling the wrong number. So if you don't call them because you're afraid of being rejected, then you might not find out that you have the wrong information all along, or that they already have somebody that they're working with, or you might not find out that they actually want to work with you. So do not let a fear of rejection hold you back from actually making the phone calls. Number 2, negative feedback. So that's coincides with the fear of rejection. So you might be afraid that somebody's going to cuss you out. It happens. Okay. It happens, but it happens in every job that I've ever seen. Anybody can get mad at anything. So don't let that hold you back either, because if somebody cusses you out, it's more about them than it is about you. It really has nothing to do with you. They're having a bad day. They're going through something, just send them some good vibes and move along, but at least now you have the peace of mind to go ahead and remove that person, because would you want to work with somebody that's going to act that way anyway? Probably not. Okay. Number 3, we have lack of confidence. And this is a huge one. So my suggestion to people to gain confidence is to attend things like role-playing calls. And that way you can practice your scripts or whatever on people that will give you, all ends of the spectrum, because it's just role playing, and you can learn how to handle the objection and how to handle negative feedback, professionally and in a way that will, give you some confidence. So the only way to get confidence when you lack confidence is to start doing the thing that you have no confidence in, and to start gaining some momentum and some skill set on it. So that is what I recommend. So, and if you lack confidence in making these phone calls, there is a ton of free content out there. There's so many different scripts and techniques and things that you can use. So look it up. Even I have a course where I actually give you like exactly what I say and all of that too, that we can talk about later. So Number 4 is that you're uncomfortable. You don't know what to say, which goes along with number 5, and that's no scripts. But if you are uncomfortable on the phone because you're trying to be somebody you're not, well, then yeah, I'd be uncomfortable too if I was sitting here trying to pretend to be something I'm not. If I came on here and I was acting like, yeah, I've sold 100 homes and trying to give you advice on that, well, that's not my skill set. That's not my wheelhouse. It's not going to resonate with you because it's not authentic. It's not true. And I don't believe it. So therefore, it's not going to help you any if I sit here and pretend to be something I'm not. So if you are uncomfortable, just be yourself. Pretend like the person you're calling is somebody that you already know and they already know you, and it's a friend of yours or something like that. Just treat them with respect. And even if they're upset, like I run into this almost every day, excuse me, where somebody will say, oh, I just clicked on that because it made me enter my info. I just wanted to see the pictures. You know how I handle that? I totally get it. A lot of people aren't, ready to buy when they click on things on Facebook and they're just browsing. We just have to reach out in case there's that person that actually needs the help. But as long as you pick up the phone and tell us that that's where you're at, no worries. But since you already gave us your email, would it be helpful if we went ahead and sent you some market updates for the area you're looking in just through the email? And that way you can keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in that area. So when the time's right, you know how to find me. And they almost always say yes. As a matter of fact, I've only had, I think, one person out of hundreds tell me no to that. So, so that is one that you can be confident in, will help people, and it'll ease their fears. And also I sometimes I'm like, hey, if you just pick up the phone and tell us that's where you're at, or if you have an agent or something like that, just say stop. You can reply to the text message, say stop, and that way it'll kick you out of all those follow-up sequences of like AI and stuff like that. So I'm honest with people. Okay. Number, what are we on? Are we on number 5, no scripts? No scripts is a big deal for some people, and for some people it's not. For me, I just needed the intro. Like I just needed to know what to say in the very beginning. And I'll be really honest with you, I'm not one of those people that can sit here and go, hey, I'm going to give you every way to handle an objection and turn somebody who's not interested into somebody that's interested and set an appointment when they're not ready. That is not me. That's not my style. That's not the way I roll. But I can give you the real me, and the real way that I make a phone call. So I call on behalf of other agents. So I will say something like, hey, this is Sarah from the Conley's real estate team in Phoenix. I saw that you had clicked on an ad on Facebook requesting a list of homes with pools for sale in Maricopa County. I just wanted to check with you and see if you got that info okay in your email. That's how I say it. I'm not one of those people like if they say hello, then I say hello. Everybody answers the phone hello most of the time, unless they speak a different language. So I'm not trying to do that. I don't match and mirror, although I don't knock it either. It can work. It's just not my style. So I'm teaching you my style, and that's the way I do it. So there it is. And I do slow down the way I speak sometimes, depending. So I guess I do kind of match and mirror, but it just depends on who I'm talking to. And sometimes you don't know when that's the intro. So I just go into it. And if they say, hey, what? Can you say that again? Then I slow down and say it again. Okay. So no scripts as well. That's a script. Like I just say what's going on. I say who I am and what's going on. And I try to keep it really brief. Sometimes in certain areas, you have to do it a little differently because they'll just hang up on you, depending on what part of the country you're calling in. They can be a little bit more, aggressively, like don't call me, or they just hang up on you. And in that case, you might have to adjust. So sometimes I'll be like, hey, just so you know, I'm not trying to sell you anything, don't worry. And then their guard kind of comes down, but it really depends. So like I said, I have a course for this. It's called Follow-Up Foundations, and I do teach all of this stuff in that, so you could learn some more of it too. Okay, time management is another thing that holds people back. Oh, I'm too busy out showing property. But usually if you're not calling, your prospects, then you're probably not too busy. So it's usually just an excuse. And time management is a big problem for a lot of real estate agents. A lot of us are ADHD, or just like, which goes into number 7, we don't have ability to focus on everything. And in that case, it's a really good idea to time block and make sure that you are putting the time into your calendar with a reminder 15 minutes before that will pop up on your phone, because we're all, addicted to our phones, checking it. I heard something like millions of times a day Americans check their phone. So if you have a reminder that pops up 15 minutes before that says you're going to make calls for an hour, then you actually sit down and do it. Well, then what you want to make sure you also can do is focus. And the way that you focus is by preparing your environment. So this all leads into all the other things. So if you don't have the tools to make the calls, if you don't know who to call, you don't know what to say, well, these are all things that we've addressed now. And if you just find the resources online, find my course, you will be able to figure these things out. So that is all of the stuff that holds people back from making calls. And I think I have some how can you overcome it? So we kind of went over some of these ways to overcome it, but let's check into what this is. So yes, number 1, you can set goals for yourself. And this is very motivating. So when you first start my course, I ask you, like, where are you at right now? How many calls per week do you make on follow-up? How many appointments do you set per month? And how many closings have you had in the last 6 to 12 months? And so you can see exactly where you start. And then at the end of the course, we do it again and we see exactly where you finish. And there's going to be a big difference usually. And so that is a way that you can do it. So if you're wanting to set, 5 appointments a week and go on 1 listing a week, then that's a good goal. And you set up the time to do it. You set the goals. Visualizing success is probably the biggest part of this and piece of this that people don't really take seriously, but is 90% of what we do. As a matter of fact, I created some affirmations that I am using, and I use these for my course, and I did it myself for 2 days in a row. And mind you, the interest rates just increased recently. And I remember telling one of my clients, I'm really worried, I'm worried about the interest rates, and we're going into fall now, or we're in the middle of summer, and I'm just worried that that's going to tank and all this. And he was like, no, Sarah, that's not the right attitude to have. That's wrong. There's all these other things you could say and do. And, there's still homes out there and everything. And so I changed my mindset right then, and I started visualizing success and using the affirmations. And in 2 days, the 2 days that I did the affirmations, yesterday and the day before, I got $1 million buyer and seller. And then I got a $1.5 to $2 million buyer. So visualizing success works, as well as positive self-talk. When you are in your head about things, oh, these leads suck, nobody's going to pick up the phone, I don't know what to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever you can come up with that's negative self-talk, well, that's impacting what results you're going to have. So in order to overcome your fear of follow-up, you want to have positive self-talk. You want to tell yourself, yes, I can do this. This is going to be successful no matter what the market is doing. And you will see results just because your subconscious mind, if you believe it, then it will start putting that into action. Setting the stage. This is a good one because a lot of people don't think about this. Your stage is the area that you make your phone calls in. If it's a disaster and you have, clutter everywhere and you don't have the right tools and things aren't set up and all of that, then you're not gonna have much success. But if you set yourself up so that you have a clean working environment, and clean can be relative. So, like what works for you, right? I do have a bunch of mail on the right side of my desk, but the left side of my desk is very, very clean and organized. And I also have my why in front of me, the reason that I do what I do. So when I want to give up and I'm not having a good day, I read this and I remember that I'm doing this to give my family and myself a better life. So I see that and I keep pushing forward. So I set my stage with visual reminders of what I'm doing. I set my stage with positive music in the background. You could do abundance tones. There's like frequencies that do this. I've seen people do that have had massive success. You could play, 2000s pop or hip hop like I do. I can get down with some Snoop, so that's my thing. I like that. But I set my stage so that I'm in a good mood, and I can easily turn the music down when somebody answers the phone and have a good conversation. And I have everything I need right here to be successful. So that is how you set your stage. Also, smiling when you make the calls. Some people stand up. It's not my thing. I don't really need to stand up, but some people do. So you can try that as well. Accountability partners. I kind of went over this earlier, but accountability partners is also something that you want to help push you. And I highly recommend, whether it's a coach, whether it's a friend, we all have real estate agent friends. We're all in all kinds of groups. Just throw it out there. Find somebody that can help you with that. Role playing is the other one that I already mentioned. And there are usually, if you're part of EXP, there's role playing calls in the world. If you're not part of EXP, hit me up. I know a coach that does it for free, and he's amazing. So hit me up. Oh, I already went over that. Remember your why. So putting that right in front of you is a really good way to motivate you to keep going. And having fun. So having fun while you do it, it makes a big difference. I have a video in my course of somebody just like totally rocking out while they're making their calls. And I hope you check that out because it is good stuff. And I hope that this was all helpful. So let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, all that, and let me know what you guys all think of this. Thank you so much.